Welcome back, everybody. This is the Natives in America podcast, and this is your host, Benjamin Warren. I'm really happy to have you guys back, and I hope you're tuning in, all our regulars and maybe some new people. Tonight, with me as always is Sky Anto, my co-host. Sound out.
What's good? What's up?
I'm going to turn my mic down a little bit.
What up? What up?
What up? What up? What up? All right. Tonight we're going to be talking about camping, I believe. But what's interesting here is we're having a special guest. Well, you can introduce yourself, but basically we've been kicking it, and I find it very interesting. And she's going to be joining us for this conversation about camping. But I think it's obvious that because both Sky and Perla, I already broke the rule here. They're I want to call them mental health professionals, but that seems to bother Sky a little bit. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Perla.
Hi, my name is Perla.
Nice. You're natural. You belong here. You belong on the mic.
Straight to the point.
Okay, that's respectable. I'm gonna turn my mic down a little more here. Tell us a little bit about yourself here. Where are you from?
I'm from Tucson. I was born in Mexico, in Sonora, Agua Prieta.
Wow.
Raised here all my life. My parents are from Guaymas, Sonora. We're basically Yaqui, but from Sonora, and grandparents also are Yaquis, but from Guaymas.
Oh.
Second generation in the United States.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so let's what a badass. All right. Okay. So we met a long time ago.
About 15 years.
Almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And kind of been talking on and off, and then we kind of had like a break for a long time, and then we just kind of came back together now. So and we went camping.
Yes, we did. We had an amazing time.
Yeah, it was awesome. So that kind of led to us bringing up this conversation about camping, and I think it's really important because I think camping never changed, but I feel like the public, let's say the public view of camping has changed a little here, and I'll explain that, but that's what we're talking about tonight, camping.
Mm-hmm. I was able to take him to one of my favorite places, the Gila River.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you this right now. We can call it Gila River all we want, but it's such a great place, and it was kind of quiet. I don't want to tell everybody where it is. Right? Okay. Can we do that?
Top secret.
Yeah, because I'm planning on going back, and I don't want it to be blown out by this huge following of people that we have. I'm sorry, everybody.
I meant to say the Salt River.
Oh. Yeah, okay. All right, so where do we kick it off here? All right, I'll do the introduction that I was thinking, and we can go from there.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I do. You're new to this, at least our podcast. So this is my thinking about camping and why I wanted to talk about it. It's that camping, to me, my entire life has been important, and it's like a way of getting out of the house. It's a way for me to spend time with my family, and now that I have a son, it's an opportunity for me to do the same for him, and I feel like it's an experience that from the beginning to now has shaped who I am and what I like, and it's always been a big part of my life. And unfortunately, with my main family, my original family, my mom, my dad, my sister, we have stopped camping. You know, our parents are getting older, and maybe kind of what me and you, Sky, talk about all the time about us becoming the adults, and it's kind of falling on us to plan these things and put it together, and now the parents are supposed to hang back and just show up and eat the food, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of planning everything and doing all the work and doing all the heavy lifting. It's on us now. So why I think it's important to talk about camping is because I think the view on camping has changed publicly. Like I feel like there are major opponents to camping. Like a lot of people who don't like it go, oh, why would you do this on purpose? Why would you go outside and lay on the ground and get a bad back? And they don't see it for what it is. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. I feel like now there's also this kind of separation of people and nature, and there's this like, oh well, if you're a camper, you're probably a redneck, or you're probably somebody who's always out there in the village or whatever. You're not normal. You're not somebody who. Well, I kind of feel like that's a city person talking, going, oh well, how could you be one of these people? It's awful. It's this horrible experience. Why would I want to be out amongst the bugs? And really, it's not that at all. So I guess I don't. You said not to put you on the spot, but I feel like I should because you're looking at me. What kind? You said you really like camping. Why?
I loved it. We've been going to the secret spot for years when we were younger. It was a place where we were able to like dream and just connect ourselves to nature. Night times, look at the stars, lay under the stars, listen to the birds, the trees, the leaves, the water, the rocks, the whole thing in whole is like connecting yourself to earth, and that's one experience that I can't ever forget, and you can't ever get here in the city, where it's busy. We're working, we're going to school, we're going to groceries. There's people all over, noises, busy. But when you go there, you get a moment for yourself, and that's what I love about camping.
Nice. Sky, me and you have started discussing this, and but I feel like to introduce it, your standpoint, I think you should say, let's go back to that and see how you feel about camping.
I like what Perla was saying. I mean, just like that moment of like not disconnecting, but in a weird way, like from the society or the matrix, but I guess maybe how it's described as an activity where you got the tent. I guess there's a natural way of camping. I'm not a camper. I'm not a big fan of camping, but I don't have a problem with sleeping outside and like climbing mountains and enjoying nature. So I think there's this I don't know, like even within camping, I feel like there's elements of like if you got the high quality trucks to take you where you need to go, or I just the concept of it being an activity where you kind of leave, and I'm not really into that, but then, like I said, like if someone wants to go outside and sleep, I'm like, that sounds awesome. Yeah. It takes me back like in the summertime. Growing up, like we would all sleep outside because it was just cool, and like we didn't really call that camping. It was just chilling outside. But I mean, I I talk like this because like I'm out in the desert, so it was like I'm constantly not camping, but it was like I was at Bobble the other like a few weeks ago, and
nice.
I went on the trail, and like those are elements of camping, but
yeah,
I didn't say, oh, I went camping today, or you know what I mean? I just I don't know if I ruined the mood, but yeah, that's kind of what I thought of the word camping. Like,
okay. So, I think you're making an important distinction that we should discuss here. The way... Alright, so I grew up the same way. Summertime comes around, you got a really hot day where you don't want to be outside, or if you're outside, you wish you weren't, and then at night in the desert, the temperature drops. And it actually can be cold outside, which has always been kind of nice too. So it's like after all that heat during the day, sometimes it's nice to just go outside and lay down. We used to have these bed springs outside, and all you'd have to do is bring a couple blankets, throw them down, or a sleeping bag, and just lay on the beds, and no tent, which I think everybody kind of sees in their mind when you say camping. Oh, you got a tent, but really, I'd like to describe it as enjoying nature, being outside, not really, being on your phones and all that crap, but just being really connected to the outdoors. And I feel like those memories you have of laying outside at night is just like camping. I feel like it becomes camping when you commit to being outside. I think when you're at home sleeping outside, you can easily go inside and use the restroom, but like there's a commitment where you might have to use the restroom wherever, or maybe there's a public toilet outside at a campsite. I feel like camping really is committing to the outdoors and just enjoying yourself outside. Like I don't really feel like camping is absolutely having to have a tent, absolutely having to go somewhere, absolutely this or that. But I feel like once you've engaged in nature, which by that I mean you hiking, like you were describing, Sky, like everything you described didn't involve sleeping outside. It involved the activities you do, the day after you just slept outside. The next day. You're like, all right, let's go hit the trails. Let's go, down to the river. Let's do something cool or fun with each other's outside where we're not all holding our phones, and we're just, looking at the mountains, enjoying the breeze and the sunlight and outside and the green. I think that's the main distinction there is camping is becoming involved in nature. I see camping with fires, but sometimes it's so damn hot you don't even need a fire. And
well, you know what it is for me is
what?
I think it's camping glamorized in like TV and movies, and so like I kind of have this idea of like a cliche version of what someone says when they say that. Like, do you mean like like going out fishing, or
you got a raccoon that's skinned and you're wearing it as a hat now?
Yeah, pretty much. But I guess it's can really be dissected on what camping is.
Yeah. Well, while you guys were talking, I was kind of thinking of how I started. As a kid, I got a tent pretty early on. We used to go camping at Babo and Patagonia, and we did it pretty regularly. Now, some people might even say, like, all the crap that we brought kind of detracts from camping, but, and like you mentioned before, I don't think we were even recording when you said it, but you said glamping. You bring everything but the electricity. Like you might have a fridge or something out there. Like you got every single thing you need. You even got a TV. Like there's glamorous camping.
Yeah.
But like what I was thinking about is it's like an outdoor sleepover. You know, outdoor. I think the key is outdoor, and I think it's spending the night outside. So as a kid, I got a tent, probably about the same age as my son. I think I had a tent when I was still in kindergarten. My own tent. I think that was a big difference. My parents always had the big, huge tent, and we'd sleep in there with them, probably annoy the fuck out of them. But, like, we were all together as a family outside. And, you know, we didn't bring a TV with us. We didn't have, I don't think we even had cell phones at the time. And we did just fine. Like, and what it was like, what I turned it into with my friends at the time was I'd invite them over, and we'd be sitting in our yard, like our front yard, but we'd have my little tent. And we just, like, it was like an outdoor slumber party, basically. We'd be outside just, you know, yakking it up, you know. I remember my parents a few times where they had to tell us to shut up because we're just all loud, you know, getting all excited. But, you know, sometimes as a kid, you need that. You need to let the kids get loud a little, you know. It's funny, like, I'm thinking about it now, and, like, I remember being a child, and then I had my son with me this last time we went out, me, Perla, and the boy. We, it was fun to see him. Usually when he comes over, he's on his Kindle or whatever, you know, he's, you know, rocking his games. Like, sometimes if I piss him off, he'll go in the room and just be on that. Or if I'm doing something he doesn't want to do, he'll just be on his game. Mm-hmm. And I sometimes feel like, man, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of opportunity for us to be together. And when we went camping, I saw it as like, hey, we're gonna disconnect. I'm gonna take him to some beautiful place in nature that I know he'll enjoy. Like, you know, pre-camp.
He enjoyed it.
Oh, he enjoyed it.
He loved it.
He had a freaking good time.
Mm-hmm. Especially with you guys' adventure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I'll publicly speak about damn near killing my son on the river, but I remember the second day we were there, like we got there the first day, and I felt like we had to shake off our city folk kind of jitters. Mm. Like that first night we got out there, it's like, where's this? Where's my thing? Where's this? Where's that? And we were like scrambling, trying to enjoy ourselves, but we weren't enjoying ourselves. It was more like, oh, we need this, we need that, we need this.
It was a learning experience for us.
Oh, yeah. I've never been there, so I kind of brought everything I could think of just in case of all the camping trips I've been on. I brought everything and still didn't feel like I had enough.
We had more than enough.
Yeah. And I was trying to pack it in my car, and she kept saying, let's bring the truck. And I'm like, we can do this in the car, but she was right. I'm not going to say that out loud all the time. But she was right. We needed a bigger vehicle for all the crap we brought. And that first night, like, we got there midday.
I got 3. Yeah,
and damn near unpacked everything, and just, it was scattered out all over the campsite. Like, it was like we couldn't disconnect quite yet. We had to be trained to let that shit go. Like, by the time it was time to go to sleep, like, there was a ton of, like, expensive shit you don't want laying out if somebody comes through your camp or animals. So it was like, oh, yeah, I was thinking that. So.
No, but the kids need those moments or those adventures and to look back on and be like, oh, that was a good time. Camping. Maybe I just don't have no memorable camping moments.
Well,
so my parents were poor. Like, I'm not saying poor, but we, you know.
You just did.
Well, they promised Disneyland every year for summer, and our Disneyland was going camping.
Yeah.
It was the rides were the rocks and the swings on the trees and the swings on the bridge, and those were our roller coasters. And the river was our roller coaster.
Yeah.
Right.
But those are memories that never go away, and they're one of my best memories that I have till this day.
Dang.
Exactly. Yeah, see, I was talking to an older man that he was one of my coworkers, and he's older, and I asked him, like, I told him I went, he hadn't seen me since I went on that break. I took like 5 days off, and he's like, oh, hey, how was your vacation? I was like, oh, that's fucking cool, we went camping. He's like, oh, really, like, camping? I'm like, cool. And he started talking about it, and I was like, yeah, man, you ever go camping? He's like, nope, not me. My parents, there was a big age gap, and my older brother and my older sister, they went camping. I never went camping, and I felt so bad for him. I was thinking, like, man, like, I'm lucky. And as a kid, as a little guy, you don't see it that way. It's like, man, I gotta go camping. Man, I'm gonna miss Saturday night cartoons because we're gonna be outside in the woods. Mm-hmm. And then I get out there, and I lose all interest in TV. I was like, man, let's slide down the hill that's covered in dry leaves that rides like a slide. Let's do that tomorrow. I'd have my cousins or my sister out there, and we'd be, enjoying outdoors. And, like, nowadays everybody's talking about whether or not, like, bless you, like, back when I was a kid, we were outside all day long, until the sun went down. And everybody's like, oh, well, kids today, they're not into that. And it's not true.
But as a child, like, when we used to go, the skills I gained, I could survive out there. Like, I could literally survive. And I could make a fire in 2 seconds. I could gut a fish, clean a fish. And it's everything because my grandpa would teach us all those things. See, survival mode right there. As a child, like, that was taught to me.
Yeah. There's so much more to it that you don't think about until you're out there. It's what she's talking about is like skill passing to the kids.
Yeah.
And when else do you get a chance to spend time with your grandpa? We're all so busy. We're all so caught up. But she has these skills now, survival skills, which I think is like an unsung, I want to say gift, or like a result of going camping. It's something you don't think about. You don't go, oh, this is why I'm going camping. I'm going to learn this. A lot of people will go, I'm going to go camping. And then out of it, you get all these life skills. Like, what if you had to sleep on the ground? What do you do to the ground to make it a little bit better? And I remember raking all the rocks out, getting all trying to make a smooth, finding a good level spot under a tree. If it's a sunny day, you want it under a tree, you get some shade. That's something you don't think about as a skill, but then if you can identify that, go scrape the ground, rake some leaves out, throw your tent in a good spot, then you're not going to hurt when you lay down. God forbid you be in a position where you have no bed to lay on.
Yeah. I got this story. It's kind of like camping, but maybe it wasn't what I thought at the time. Again, I'm not a big camper guy, so one of my instructors, autumn instructors, invited me to go with them to this community, autumns in Mexico that were trying to get their tribal ID, and he was trying to help them, so he invited me to go with them and just be there and kind of soak up the experience. It was cool. I learned a lot, but he kind of didn't really explain the sleeping arrangements. He just kind of said, "Hey, we're gonna go stay one night," but it wasn't like I was like, "I'm only gonna go. There's a 4-star hotel." You know, I wasn't like that. I was just kind of like, "Well, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a village in Magdalena or Marina. And it was at this house, and like the tents they had tents that they gave us, but all the pieces kind of weren't together, so I think it was kind of like just left outside. But like, I was camping. I got the feel that I was camping, but it was only for that short time of like the next day. You know what I mean? Like in the hotel, you're staying there, but the next day you gotta either leave or stay another day. It was just like, I'm just here for this little bit of time, but yeah, kind of going back to what camping is kind of like.
So what
being able to survive at night, or being able to like be out.
What did you guys do?
He was like kind of like demonstrating how to like say certain words in Autumn. And he was just kind of like giving Autumn lessons. And what was interesting was like I think we well, maybe I'm speaking for myself. I take for granted the fact that we have tribal IDs. But like when I was showing them mine, they were like so impressed with it. Like it was like I didn't see it the same way they saw it, which blew my mind because I'm like, damn, like, am I not appreciating where I'm from, or is it just maybe they're looking too much into what this is? I don't know, it was trippy, but I was lucky enough to be invited.
How old were you?
I was like 27. Like I was old, like, but like I was still like able to. Like I really thought that we would get a hotel. Yeah. And then we just said, now we're going to sit here in this guy's yard, and it was pretty much out in the open. So, alright, cool.
So, tell me this, at what point did you realize, like, oh, this is it, like, this is home right now, like, this is where we're going down, like, the sun must have been going down, right? Or did he start getting you ready before then?
No, well, we got to that spot, it was already dark. And it was like, we had to get up early, so it was kind of like, man, just go to bed. But, I don't know if I just don't sleep well or what, but I got up early, and it was just kind of like, I made it.
I made it. That's the thing, the survival mode.
Yeah.
Pops in, and you just have to survive. You just have to make it happen. Like me and Ben were following the sun and putting shade. As the sun was moving west, we were moving the shade.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah, there was like a patch of trees, and it cast one tiny spot of shade. And we're just like, all right, we're going to put the table here, and then like maybe a couple hours later it'd be somewhere else, so you got to move the table again. And you're just chasing the shade.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, we were there. Let's see, we went out. It was like a 3-day trip. We went out the one day, the prep day. I think maybe we should talk about actual camping. I was, in my experience, you get it ready the night before, and then in the morning you just go. But there's been many times, like this wasn't the only time, but many times where it didn't go that way. You're like scrambling to gather all these things that you might need. Like I can't imagine what did you even have when you were with your grandpa? What do you like? Were you sleeping on blankets? Were you laying on the ground? Like, was there a fire? Sky?
Who, me?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, when? That day or that?
Yeah.
It was just out in the cold, like, it was like someone's yard, and, well, are you talking about just old times, too?
Well, whatever, I guess, yeah. I was asking specifically about that night that you remember staying out.
I think I was just anxious about, man, because it's just like me sleeping is, like I snore, so like I'm always self-conscious about other people hearing my snore if I don't know them, so I was just, so, I don't know, it's like when you have to force yourself to go to sleep. Yeah, like, the people are really cool, so I think once you kind of got to know who they were, they're like, it kind of made you feel, oh, alright, I know where I'm at now. Like, you know, when you kind of go somewhere you don't know where anything's at, or, I don't want to say a stranger, but it's like you don't know them, and then you kind of get to know them, and they're actually like welcoming you in. You kind of start to feel comfortable, but yeah, like I said, I didn't plan on packing. I didn't plan on it like being like that. So like, I didn't really. Well, see me like when I think of camping, like I'm just, like you're talking about all the stuff you're planning for, but I thought camping too was also like not needing much, kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think some. Oh, it sounds like Perla's got something to say.
Ben had some good gadgets. He was coming up with like little plates, forks that folded open. I don't know. He had so many things. I was amazed. He had a little bit of everything. Like he was coming out with plates and metal cups with coasters and.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're going to, how long have you got?
Maybe I was glamping. Maybe I'm a glamper. Because, like, I was just about to say, like, that, what you were describing about showing up with nothing and just going for it, like, I think some hard, you know, some true bloods would be like, that's the only way to camp is just show up and do it, you know, throw down.
Yeah,
Like, I grew up with our camping where we came prepared. Like, you got prepared the day before, and then you go, and you know what you need when you get there. But we were going to places that we knew. Like, I think that's another thing we should talk about is, like, places you know where you feel safe. You know?
Well, I knew where I was going.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's why I brought a little of everything. I was like, I don't know what's going to be there.
But it was all useful. We used it all. Everything.
Wow.
That was a good trip. Like, yeah. Like I said earlier, I felt like we had to, like, shed the routine. Because you couldn't do it out there. Like, my routine is I'll get off of work, come home, well, you know, clean up, and then that's it. And you start chilling, trying to relax before going to bed. and do it all over again, the routine.
Yeah.
But in camping, we get creative, we improvise, we just have to make things work with what we have.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: who you go with, who you camp with, it counts a lot. You can go by yourself and just be like, you know, there's an expression I'm trying to think of it. You can be at the will of nature, like no control, nothing. And you're just out there and you just go, all right, me against nature. You know, the shows. There's been shows. It seems like it's gone
Survivor.
Yeah, complete mainstream because it's so good. Well, you know, and we're all aware of this. Watching, you know, it's so riveting. We'll sit at home, watch it on TV. You know, and we're not camping, but we're camping with them because we're watching. Like, to do it for real, like.
Two things.
Yeah.
Two things.
Yeah.
I was talking about earlier today was what we're kind of what we're talking about is Lord of the Flies. For the kids around the island, they gotta learn how to like hunt and stuff. But another thing too about camping that freaks me out, and maybe that's why I don't like it. Another reason why is like all the Michael Myers films. Like they're camping somewhere, or like they're out in their tent somewhere, and then blows up. Like that happened so many times.
Yeah.
We were also prepared for that, trust me.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, you know what? I'm not gonna go into full detail, but that was one thing. Because I didn't know where I was going. I was like, I'm going to go armed to the teeth. Just in case people show up. I was more concerned about strangers that I didn't know and maybe we're the only ones out there. Because I didn't know where we're going. I'm like, this could be, you know, the deep desert. Like, it kind of was where we're at. Like, kind of, but not in the way that I was thinking. There was other people there.
Yeah. That's
another thing, like, what kind of camping are we talking here? Like, out deserted, out in the woods, you know, nobody else is there. Like, we went to, I guess you could call it a campsite, right? Like I promise not to say where.
Yeah.
Or no? Are we doing this? Like,
the
Gila River is where we were. We were on the Gila River. And by on the river, I mean, if I stood right next to my tent and I reached out, my hand will be hanging over the edge of the river. We were right on the river. And we got on this, like... First of all, I gotta say this. I've done a lot of camping out here on the res, and the only place I think about immediately is Babo, the Babakiri part.
Yeah.
Base of the Sacred Mountain. My childhood I've spent there. I remember there used to be a cabin there, and now it's not there. Like, it's changed a lot, but it's still the same place, and I've grown up there so many times. But I think about it, and it's like that is like a little known place, maybe. But you know, everybody on the res can go there, but like outsiders don't really. They do now, but you know, not in the beginning. And then there's places like I went with my family, and it'd be like Patagonia, so it's a state park. And it's regulated, and there's paying prices, and no chopping wood, and there's rules, but there might be power, and there's people all grouped together, hundreds of people on a good weekend.
Huh.
But what would you say it was like? When we were there, like the park, like when we first got there was maybe five groups, like a handful of people, and then by the next day it would turn into Saturday.
It was pretty. It wasn't packed, but people were enjoying themselves. You could tell that they were doing like birthday parties and just hanging out and having fun, cookouts and laughing, and kids playing in the water and.
Yeah. We saw nature too, like animals.
Oh, the deer.
There was a deer. I think it was our last day there. Mm-hmm. We stayed for almost 3 days. Like, we got there the first day, spent a night, had all day Saturday, which I think was the best part. Like, we had all day there.
Mm-hmm.
And had no worries because we didn't have to leave until the next day. So it was a 2-night trip.
Your son was in there in the dark, in the water, freezing water.
Oh, yeah.
I
couldn't get him out. I couldn't get him out of the water.
Yeah.
He kept playing. Like, he's at the end of the day, like, I think he was there. Like, I kept bringing him out. We kept bringing him out, keeping him warm. Like, sit by the fire for a while. Like, we're going to eat now. But, like, every chance he got back in that river.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I wanted to, like, my city brain was going, get him out of that cold water. But, like, my dad brain was like, I love seeing my son sitting in a river in the middle of the desert and just loving every minute of it.
Full of mud, too.
Yeah. I kept telling him, why should have somebody to eat? He'd go and stick his hands in that river and then, like, come back and he'd be covered in mud from it. Just he's like, Dad, help, I can't wash off. He just, every time he went back in the river, he'd start playing.
I was laughing because on Friday, the first day, he was all about, like, washing his hands and
he couldn't look.
Out.
He couldn't get anything on him.
And then the next day, he was full of mud, all wet. Yeah.
All day long. At some point, I had to force him out of the river.
Uh-huh.
I was like, it's cold. It's it's getting cold out. I can see you starting to shake. Like, he was like, at the very end of the day, he was at the very edge of the river, and he was just sitting in a little bit of water, and he was playing in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right,
son. He called it building.
Yeah. Every time he wanted to play in the mud, he said, let's go build. Let's go. You want to build?
Perla, build.
Perla. You want to build? And they'd be playing, and, like, it was something to see my boy do. Like, I'd never see him do that. And, like, I remember, I think I camped before I was 5 the first time, and it was probably just out in the desert like Sky described. But his fear to the water changed. Oh yeah.
In the beginning he was all scared, like just his feet, and then Sunday he wasn't like half of the in the river.
I let him walk in front of me, like I got behind him and let him walk, like from the deep part of the river out, and he was with me. Like I held him, and
he was going for it.
I didn't even hold him. I like had my hands like by him, and he was like walking, and we were just kind of shuffling like crabs across the water. And I was like, I showed him, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, and we finally did it.
Great bonding between you and him.
Oh yeah.
It was beautiful to see.
Yeah.
His happiness.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
And that was funny too. Like, it was funny for me to see him, go through that transition of just the first day. He was there, like he's like, Dad, and he would like freeze, and he'd have mud on his hands. He'd be like, Dad, what did I do? Oh yeah, it's alright. And he'd have me wash his hands off again and again. And it was like everything he did, there was dirt on his pants and dirt on his hands. And he's like, like, Dad, help, like help. I come and like wash him off, and then 2 seconds later he'd be covered in mud, like his feet, like his shoes.
Yeah.
Like that's what
I like how he developed imagination and started doing little things and started seeing things as what they were at that moment. He was building volcanoes and you got him collecting rocks. Like he started picking things up and looking at them and saying, like, this is a good one. It's beautiful. Look at this. And admiring nature.
Yeah. It was a time for me where I was just watching him develop. As I did one day, one time, and it affected me the rest of my life. And it's something I could share with the both of you. It was cool. We got to hang out. Your place, your childhood place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I took the Switch and I kept on giving it to him for he could play, and then he left it there and kept on going to the water, and I was like, okay, let's just put this away, because he's actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's camping right there, man. Like, I always saw it as a way of getting away. Like, I'd always feel absolutely great coming back. I mean, we burned out, but like a good burned out, because he did so much out in the sun with nature. Like, that's a key thing, nature. Like,
yeah,
beautiful. Like I was saying about the animals, I think we saw the deer Sunday morning right before we left. Like, we were just waking up. It was like still cold. Like, we were gathering wood to make a fire. We got the fire going. And the boy came up to the fire, and we all started doing like coffee, but like not easy coffee. You had to boil water and then make it. Like, I guess you do that at home, but like you usually have a machine to do that for you. But here we were, like, having to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's how we used to do it when we were kids.
Yeah, Perla. What else? Tell us more.
The best food that we've ever had, it was camping. Just eating what we had. No salt. We used to put extra pepper, or like, I don't know, just made it work somehow, some way. Or my grandpa used to like throw the fishing pole and put like all these, what are they called? The hooks. And he would get 2-3 fishes, and then like he'll give a fish to each of the girls and like figure it out, clean it, and then whoever made the best job on cleaning it, and like, we wanted to prove ourselves to our grandpa, and whoever cooked it best, and he would like taste it and give us credit, and that's how we made him proud.
Wow.
But
that's cool.
The nature of like, he used to get deers too, and snakes. And he used to gut them right there and peel them and get the skin and get from the deer and like slice the meat and like put it on these wires and hang it from one mesquite to another, and like just lay all this meat with salt, and just like it will become within like within time it will become like beef jerky. Like he will like get the wires and take them home and hang them.
Wow.
It was a nice experience to see that, because he's an older generation. He was like 60, in his 60s, somewhere like in our teens.
Yeah.
I don't like snakes, but I've seen him kill many snakes. I also seen as I was telling you, Ben, like my grandpa saved a lot of people from that river, from drowning. He also, as it's beautiful, it's also dangerous. And my grandpa did take a lot of drowned bodies out of the water. So it's a whole experience. You need to be smart. You need to be fast. You need to pick up when you go there.
Yeah, you need to get out.
Yeah, you need to learn when to stop. But it is overall, it's an experience, and you just take it as what it is, and enjoy it to the max, to the fullest, because we never know when, if the next day we're gonna wake up. We get opportunities like that. Just live the moment, seize them. Those moments, if I would have known that those were moments that I would treasure at this point, I would have enjoyed them more. But now that I'm older and I remember them, those are memories that are never forgotten, and I really appreciate him taking the time and teaching me how to make a fire. Because I make fires. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I love the fire. It's like life.
Yeah.
Like you have all elements there. You got fire, water, earth, air. You think about it. So you're like surrounded by all elements.
Whoa.
I was sitting here smiling at you like, You impressed me. It was impressive. I've camped a few times with people that don't camp or whatever, and I usually do everything, but like I would set up a fire, or I'd bring the wood, chop it, and then I'd like go do something else, be ready to do a fire, and then I'd come back and the fire would be going, and I'd be like, like cool. That was nice. Like,
oh, for me?
what?
Are you talking about me? The
No,
fire?
why would I be talking about you?
Can I say one of my favorite moments of you?
I don't know.
This guy one morning he got up and we were sleeping in the tent, and it was pretty in the mornings is beautiful, right? Like when the sun's coming out. So the minute like I wake up, I want to go out.
Yeah.
And I open the tent, I see Ben coming like with half of a tree on his back, and I was like amazed. I was like, yeah, that reminded me of my grandpa. Like, he was bringing this big old tree.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah. So like he was saying, bringing the good person on your side, it counts. It makes such a difference because you're not just doing all the work yourself.
Yeah.
I had experience with my cousins where I would go and they're like in the water and I'm wanting to set up camp because it's important to set up camp. Yeah, it's important to enjoy yourself, but setting up makes it like, I don't know, you just prepare for the night, the sun's going down. And I would be all mad because nobody would help me set up and make fire and get wood and do this and prepare the food or the dinner and set the camp. So when I seen Ben doing that part and I would start doing my part, oh man, it was just the time of my life because we were just getting things done and then we were able to enjoy ourselves on Saturday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we had shaken off like the city jitters, like the routine. And the next day, when when you could actually see everything spread out, you're like, all right, we need this right now. We don't need this. We cleaned up the campsite, and then we had time to get wood. Then we had the time, to set up. And damn, that whole day of camping like that was camping. Like you woke up, and I think for me, like one of my memories was always of my dad. He'd be the first one up. Well, my mom did it too. She did that too. She would get up. The both of them would get up. The adults. We'd be passing out, sleeping in. Like I barely learned in like California about condensation. Like if you're sleeping warm, the whole tent can get all dripping like water on you. It gets so wet from condensation. But like, damn it. All right, so. I remember we'd sleep in as a kid. I didn't have any like thing to do, but I'd wake up and my dad would already be up, and it'd be freezing, and I think it was even summer. It'd be hot during the day, but freezing at night and in the morning, just before the sun comes up. And it was on the river. It was cold. And I just remember by the time I would get up, when I was about my son's age and probably, all the other times I went camping a lot as a kid. I'd wake up and my dad would be out there and he'd already have a fire going. Like I think what he would do is he'd stoke the fire. There might be a couple coals and he'd get it going again, and then he'd start another fire for cooking. And I'd come out and I'd already smell like coffee and bacon going. And like, little by little, everybody in the camp, my parents, my sister, their cousins, everybody kind of start waking up, like, hungry. Probably got a stiff back because you're either sleeping on the ground or you got, like, a really nice, sleeping bag or nothing at all, but you got maybe a tent or you're sleeping in somebody else's tent. You're just, like, just curled up in a ball in your little tent. One thing I just taught to my son was I remember freezing my ass off as a kid in the morning, and I'd have a sleeping bag, but I'd be freezing, and I learned one day just to start pulling the blanket over my head a little bit and like breathing into the space to like fill it up with warm air.
Oh yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah, and I taught my son that, and I was like, son, like, if you ever just, I'm gonna tell you, whenever you camping, it's usually cold in the morning, and you wake up, and you pull up, you pull up the blanket, breathe, just breathe, and you'll get warm, and at some point you'll stick your head out, and you'll be asleep, and you'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that camping. You can do that wherever you are. You just kind of curl up and be warm. A life skill, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. Like, I guess I never really planned on passing that on to my boy. Like, or I did. You think of all the things you'll pass, but one day it happens, and it was like, wow. Like, now he knows. And I told him, hey, do that on this trip. We were out there. I told him, remember, if you get cold in the morning, just curl up. Cover your face and breathe over your body to get warm.
But it's amazing to see him follow you around with the hatchet. Trying to, like, break wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so little, but he's right there next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought an axe.
He looks up to you. Yeah.
I brought an axe, and we went, and I had handed him a hatchet. I gave him, like, his own hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
I've already showed him many times how to hold it, and try not to chop your own toes. One thing I'll say about any kind of wood chop, you want some shoes like covering your toes.
Yeah.
And maybe some pants to cover your leg when you miss that log or the log goes flying. Like, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's that whole long day out there again. Like we still had jobs to do, so like I went and chopped a little more wood, and Perla was cooking basically everything. She was prepping everything. Like, that was crazy to see. It was like, oh, I got somebody who's doing stuff too. I don't have to worry about that now.
We just take roles.
Yeah. And
that's how it is. Teamwork.
Kept the fire going. Yeah, the logs like camping.
You taught me just to put a big old log because I wanted to break it, and then I was like, duh. Put a big old log, it burns in the middle, and then it breaks, and then you make two logs. Thank you. That's something new I learned.
So it's like you almost have to get out of your normal environment to
absolutely
to teach all these other skills, and almost kind of it sounds like responsibility. There's responsibilities that come with camping.
Bro, life. These skills you get from camping are for life.
Mm-hmm.
And you never really figure out when it becomes useful. Like, maybe, there are times where you're like, when will I ever do this again? I was talking with my buddy at work, and he was like, oh, yeah, I used to camp. And then after a while, he kind of went like, well, I was homeless, but I was like, oh, the biggest, the hardest core camping you could do. He's like, dude, and he laughed. Like, we were just laughing about it. He's like, I guess that's not camping, That's not camping. I was really glad to be out there, but I was like, man, like, I didn't bring it up, but I could probably bring it up to him tomorrow when I work with him. It's like, everything you learned there, I bet you learned a lot about survival, but I also think like perception, how people see you, and like whether or not they actually know what they're talking about when they look at you, like what they see, like, or the perception of camping, like. I've heard comedians talk about it like, oh, like, yeah, we're going to pay to go sleep on the ground. I think it was, I'm not naming names. Or I'm not even trying to say that. I can't remember his name right now. But, yeah. Damn, the skills.
I fell asleep outside this time. And, it was one of my favorite moments, just being there, laying out in the dark, underneath the stars, with the river, the sound of the water just flowing. The river.
Alright, I brought it up earlier, but I didn't actually go into the detail about it. Like, we were in the middle of the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And like all day long, that's where we live. That's what we're driving. I think in Tucson, like in the city, you just don't see it. Like I remember seeing it from like an aerial map. I remember seeing cells on the res, like an aerial map, and it's kind of like a small town, not quite a city, but it's really a village. But like when you're there's all this pavement and streets and lights. But when I saw an aerial view above it, all I saw was dirt. And I was like, wow, like that's out there in the middle of the desert. You don't realize that. And then here in the city, there's people going all day long, lights, sounds, noise, electricity, machines, ACs. We're all holding our phones and like, to get out there and escape all that is, man, to sleep outside and like, there was like no room for bullshit.
Mm-mm.
It's like if you're cold, you make a fire. If you're about to eat, you make a fire and then get your food ready. There's the planning that goes into like, oh, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna have to do it. You have to do it. If you don't, then you're sitting, I don't know, sitting pretty out in the desert, hungry and cold.
Mm-mm. Not me.
Not you, not I. Not I. Huh.
So,
one of my favorite things is the wet smell of the dirt. Sorry, Sky, but
oh no, that
the wet dirt smell is like one of my favorite. And that herb, remember I told you that herb?
Yeah, there was that tree,
that's my childhood like smell. And it's not the best smell ever, but like to me it's like the best smell ever.
Alright, so for anybody listening from our res, it reminded me a little bit like creosote, like grease wood, like sugar.
Oh.
But it wasn't as beautiful and tasty as sugar. It was like, I don't know. There are some weeds that come out during the summer or spring, and you touch them and they look one way, but then you smell it and it's like, wow, that's a strong smell. Like, that's what it was to me. But for her, it was childhood. What was it? Don't put words in your mouth. The herb. Why do you like it?
Just the smell of it reminded me of childhood. And then my mom and my aunts and our cousins used to like grab a handful of it and then go boil it and put it in our hair. I don't know, we just used it as a herb, and we like nature. I don't know. I don't even know if it works. We would just do it. And that's what I was trying to tell you, like just doing it. And then I would take it home and boil it and put it in like a big, like in a bathtub and just like bathe in it. And I don't even remember where it started, where we got the herb from, like, but we just love it.
Yeah, it was all over too. It was all up and down the bank.
Just the smell of it.
It was green. It was greener than anything else there. Yeah, when you brought it over, I was smelling it, and it wasn't the best smell for me. I was like, it's like, but
and my mom asked me, you didn't bring me none, and she told me the name. She's like, you didn't bring me none. I go, no, I forgot. I go, I had grabbed a couple, but it died. Remember? Okay. And I told you, no, just leave it. It's all dead.
Oh, you did. I was going to ask you if you got to use it.
No, we left it.
What did you used to use it for?
Shower in our hair.
How?
Boil it. You boil it, and then you put it in your hair. You spray it like rosemary.
It had straight stalks, like a oleander tree, but it had these stringy, I don't know what to call it. I'm going to call them fingers. It was stringy fingers and these like puffy, powdery little yellow flowers. And it was green, dark green, greener than anything around it, and it grew right like half in the water, right on the bank. And there was some that were little bushes, and then there were
huge.
They kind of looked like 4 or 5 feet. The ones I saw were like 4 or 5 feet tall, dark green, yellow flowers, and bushy. And it kind of reminded me of the shape of oleander branches, like straight branches with leaves coming off it and flowers.
Long, skinny leaves.
Yeah, long. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it before. I couldn't tell you what it was called.
The name?
Yeah, my mom did. She's like, "No me trajiste this?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I just totally forgot." And I kept on telling you about it. Like, I need to go grab some of it.
We should have found a small one and brought it home. Have a bush in your backyard.
No, it needs the river.
Oh yeah.
Turn in the river.
So it is. It is. Like, obviously, it'd be right there, like on the edge. Every time I saw it, dark green. Every time, like, it stuck out.
And then when we were kids, we would just get these cheap bottles of shampoo and like throw shampoo in our hair. And I don't know if it's good for the fish or not, whatever. But we didn't think back then. And all our cousins would be all foamed up in our hair with shampoo. And just washing our hair with the river. Those are like memories I have.
Wow.
And we used to be like halfway clean because you're taking a shower with river water, with fish water, basically. But that spot where we went there had showers, free showers. Oh. Okay.
It was like a camp. I will say this: when I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, this place is shot out." Like, it looked old. Like, it was old, but once we actually started exploring the place, I was like, "They've got amenities here. This place is everything you want in a park." But like, I should say less.
It didn't have
it was
nothing.
horrible. Everybody was horrible.
There's trash all over.
God awful.
No, it's an amazing place for family. We did go to like how many spots before we?
Oh yeah. Well, we started.
We started somewhere.
A landmark. We started under a certain thing that hangs over, and cars may or may not drive over. Anyway. We were there. I already gave it up. We started there, and I by the end of the day, I considered that the end of the river because it was as far as you could go.
With a vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, and
we learned that the hard way.
And there was there was a bunch of spots. We were kind of going out and. I swear, from up where you saw it, it didn't look like anything. It just looked like, this place has nothing. It's, old. It doesn't look, I don't know. It just looked rough. But once we got down to the river, it was a river.
But the spot that we chose was a perfect spot.
Yeah, in the end. We went to 3 or 4 different spots, and it looked like a party spot on a few of them where there was, there was cigarettes in a few of them where it was like, damn.
That's another thing that we need to touch. If you go camping, clean after yourself.
Yes, goddamn.
Yes.
That was one thing my mom always pushed on me.
Do's and don'ts.
Yeah, clean up after yourself. That's a faux pas. Yeah.
We had one bag and we made it work. We stuffed everything in there, but we left that area like we were not even there.
Shit, we left it better than it was.
Yes.
And that was another thing.
We left a lot of wood.
By the last time we left, I still had because you got a bunch too. We still had a bunch of wood like ready to go. Like, we left that place better than we got there. Like, I had created a new fire pit, like built it up with rocks, and we chose the spots. We cleared them out a little bit. Like, damn, like, yeah, when we left, like, as soon as we left, these other people like jumped on it. Like we even had to come back. Like, oh, did we forget something? And you always worry about that, but like. Damn, these people had showed up. And we were watching there. They were watching
already
us.
making a fire.
Yeah, they were already setting up. But yeah, because they had wood already. They had a fire going like before we left. Like we had already packed up the ride and we went. and like last cleanup.
When I dropped you guys off.
Yeah. And then we left, and I had left like wood, the new fire pit, and there was also like this old, on another campsite, I found this like rusty old, like half ruined grill. But I was like, hell, we could use that, like, you know, gathering supplies at the camp.
You literally crossed the river to bring wood. There's this island, like the river turned into like a Y, and in between it was like a little island, and there's all this kind of wood, and he went over there like twice and brought big old bundles on his back, full of like wood. And I did tell you how we should have taken it back and hit it.
Yeah, like fuck these guys. I was like, yo, these guys didn't do nothing. Like, they didn't carry this wood. Let's come on. Yeah.
They didn't put in on this.
Yeah, they did not put in on this. Let's put it where we can find it. Yeah.
That way we know where our treasure is at.
Yeah. Shit, wood was a premium.
Mm-hmm. And it was tough to break too.
Yeah, it was hard. That's probably like, if I had to compare it, like where we grew up, mesquite is everywhere. I'm pretty sure this was willow. Big, hard, tough wood. I felt like I was chopping a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
like a Louisville Slugger. I was hitting that thing, and it was loud, and it wouldn't split. Like, I had to go to town on it a few times, and I think by the time we left, I was toast.
You were hurting.
I was feeling it, like, damn, like, I was chopping that big wood, and I know, like, there's certain techniques for that harder wood, but, like, damn, we left, yeah. I almost brought a handsaw. Anyway, I was like, oh, that's too much. We don't need that.
Oh, we
don't need that. So Sky, what do you think, man? Like, you wanna go to the river? What we should do is make some time. Like, we'll all put in some time and go. I bet if I asked the boy if he wanted to go camping tomorrow, he'd be like, yes, yes.
I've been telling you about Sabino Canyon. Oh.
Yeah, all right, we're going. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually been out there. Can you camp there?
You can, but I was just, you could just go for a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be camping. You could go for enjoy nature for a day, from like 6 in the morning to like sundown and.
Yeah, there. You know. We were in we went to the edge of the camp and got like a really good spot. There was like a beach. There was like a long stretch of maybe 50 yards of like just sandy, flat ground, and there was grass all along the thing. All like patches. It was patchy grass, but it was like all along the beach. And there was those herbs that she's talking about, and most of the trees, I'm pretty sure, were willows. It was a hard wood, just like mesquite, a really hard wood, and it burned for a long time.
Well, when we were younger, we used to get those big old pieces and make bonfires. I'm talking about bonfires.
Yeah, we should have did that last night.
Yeah,
bonfire.
Like big old fires that you could see like from miles away.
Damn, we're talking Burning Man over here. Like, take it easy.
Well, that's when you do the s'mores and you do the hot dogs and we're right there, not with fancy whatever you had. I had
telescopic forks.
They were pretty cool, but back then we didn't have those, so we would get like the longest sticks and we would clean them, and our cousins would be there with the little knives trying to make them all smooth. Yeah. That was
I didn't always have that. Yeah. We had, I don't think it was cat claw, but there was a bunch of like really straight sticks out in the res, in the washes. But same thing.
Yeah, go find a nice stick. But when I was sorry to I'm not changing the subject,
Go for it, brother.
I want to say why you guys are talking about, like, some people wouldn't be able to survive this. Like, why is that? Like, why do you think?
Okay, yeah, I got an opinion.
Maybe the newer generation, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's that or if it's just a dying art or I don't know. Like, are we just not spoiled and entitled to live a certain lifestyle where you're not in nature? You're kind of knee deep in society.
Shit.
He's right.
For half the day, I was knee deep in icy cold river water.
Yeah.
And it was loud. Yeah. So on the point of both of those, I think what Perla was saying too, I already lost the thought. I'm sitting here like, I got all excited
to say it.
Yeah. So we're both talking about being in the river, spending the time there. Like, okay, so what she brought up was you can go just for a day. And I actually saw it. Like, people showed up, and I was like, oh, crap, they're going to camp, like, right next to us, because there was a beautiful spot there where we were alone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were there for the day. Like, they knew the spot. They would show up. And I seen some, like, just swim. They rode the river a couple times. Some, like, you could tell they were there before. They had fishing poles, and I'd sit there and watch them, and I was realizing, like, we invested money, we gathered all this stuff, we brought all this stuff, but what if we just went for a couple hours, go ride the river,
get in the water.
So it made me realize, like, this is not unobtainable. And I think that's, like you were talking about, Sky, in the mainstream, about, it's like, it seems like this hard to do. I don't have the skills. I'm not going to try it. But really, it's not that.
So when you were packing all that stuff, I was like a little like amazed to see all the knickknacks and stuff like that, because I would have rolled over with a box of foil and would have made it work with a box of, like, I would have cooked, I would have ate off of it, I would have created things, like I created a sponge to clean out of foil, like, that's how we would do it when we were kids. But also my mom and my aunts, like you said, at one point I was a child and I did not see all that hard work that an adult would do. But now I'm the adult. Like, I took it. I remember what they would do.
It was impressive.
But to me, that's fun.
Oh yeah.
It's enjoyable. Like, I enjoy it. I love it. Okay, so this is now what we're gonna do right now. But this is what we have to do right now, because then the sun's going down, and then the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and it's just. You're always busy, like you're always doing something and making sure that you're like protecting the little ones.
Yeah, we watched him like a hawk.
Yeah, protecting him.
I was on him like, no matter what he did, I was like.
The funny part was him trying to use the bathroom and you trying to create a toilet for him. He did. He came up. I don't know where you took this chair out. Where did you find the chair?
It was already at the campsite. Somebody had discarded an old, like, it looked like it was sun beaten, and somebody tried to sit in it and it ripped, like, this old camping chair. And I had like a little bit of string on me, and like I knew how the chair was supposed to look. So, and it still had a seat. So I just stuck the poles back together, tied them a little bit, and then I cut I cut like a butt-shaped hole in the seat, like a good sized little hole, like just a cross with my knife. And I told my son, I handed him some toilet paper. I was like, do your best, son. Like, this is the best I could do for you right now. Before I realized this place already had the perfect facilities for that. But it was like he had to go now, and it was like we had just arrived, and I was like,
like out of nowhere.
Well, you know, he's 5. He's very young. He's a little guy, and I didn't want to have to tell him about the times I was a kid, like too busy having fun in the wash, that I would just try to lean up against a tree and do your best not to piss all over yourself.
When we were little, we had the buddy system.
Oh my God, the buddy system. Tell me more.
Oh, well, if you were pooping, your cousin would hold your hand, that way you didn't fall back. That was the buddy system. And then, you know, looking around that there's no snakes, that there's nothing around you. But, yeah.
I was worried that people...
You need a shovel.
Okay, we didn't bring a shovel. Add that to the list, people who are listening. You need a shovel. It sounds ridiculous, but bring some tools. I almost brought a handsaw. Like I've done yard work. I've done some fucking work, and a saw comes in handy. And I didn't bring it, and turns out it would have been perfect. It would have been perfect to have. Because I was doing all this shit that I didn't need to do, but because that wood was so hard, it was like... After a while,
did you see your son? He was going over there by himself and peeing and doing his little thing.
He beat me to it. I was like, he didn't ask me, he went. It was like day 2.
He took the chart.
But it was so scary because I was like, damn it, I almost brought a bucket. You know, it was like, it was another thing we would have packed. Like, I was like, what do we need? But, yeah... I started out as a stack of logs. I was trying to make it as simple as possible, and I had nothing. And, but, you know, he realized what he had to do. And, I ain't gonna lie, there were showers there. So that was nice.
And there is hot water. Nice.
It was hot. Yeah, it turns out there was hot water.
we took a couple of cold showers thinking it was hot water.
Like, this is all you got? Yeah, all right, I'm camping. I'm standing in this, like, this stone shower, like it was like all cinder block, just like standing
we didn't need to turn it in it.
Just under an open pole, like, just pouring water in your face, like, it might as well have been river water. I can't do ice cold water. You know what? It reminded me of home. The ice cold water in the winter. Shit, it's damn near spring, but it felt like winter. I froze my ass off, but hey, it was amenities though. Like, hey, there's a shower. Let's talk about the nitty gritty about it. The term for the people is beto. If you want to, sapito. Anyway, being like, well, I think the root word of that is beef, which is shit, it's poop, it's excrement, beef. And when you're beto, you're kind of shitty.
You just go in the river and like wash it off, let it just go.
Just squat in the river.
See, that was another reason why camping is like when you leave camping, your stank ass. You're just like,
you're beto.
You're survival mode.
Well, you're talking about showers.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't expect it. I knew it was a thing from Patagonia, but I didn't expect that there. And I'm not going to say another word about that. Because I'm going back. You guys might see me. I dare not share this tidbit.
Oh. Go ahead, babe. You already did. You opened the can.
No. Wait, no. I don't know what you're talking about, but one day I got up and I was like, you know, I was sleeping and it was like hot and I had underwear and my son just looked at me and was like, Dad. I was like, what? Your wiener's out. It was funny, and later I rode the river with him, and I was turning towards the people, and I was like I may or may not.
No, you did.
I may or may not have flashed like 100 feet of people. My genital region.
You felt.
I was wearing shorts, and I didn't do anything.
You were part of nature. You were just.
You know what? Day 2 camping. You're that. That's you now. You're this life.
I am going to speak about something very important.
Oh my God.
Sunscreen.
Oh yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Sunscreen, please. If you do go camping, the heat, you can take it, but the sun, it burns. And if you're not used to camping, and you're not used to being in the sun like
outdoors,
that, make sure that you do take your protectives, your hat, your sunscreen, your water shoes, because there's rocks, there's broken glass, there's stuff.
I didn't see glass, but I bet it's there.
Of course.
We had water shoes. I didn't think to bring that. That was something you thought of, and we did. And I'm glad we did. Because there were so many times where the river was pushing me where I was going. And it would push my legs, and I was like, all right, well, you have to grip with your feet on these rocks that are covered in sand, and the water's flowing, and you're like, all right.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm glad I got these shoes on.
I'm saying glass because my experience with glass in the river happened.
Okay,
some people broke rules, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's no glass allowed, but people would take glass and somehow it would get in the rocks and the rivers. And, you know, there's also shells, broken shells, like the clams.
That blew my mind. Why are there shells in the river?
Know, but
it reminds me of an ocean.
They had clams.
The water wasn't salty. I got that water in my mouth a few times. Yeah.
There's some right here. Little clam shells.
Oh, yeah, on the table.
There's a lot of crawdads that I
didn't see any.
Not there. Not in that area.
But I'm pretty sure, and I have to say this on the air here, is that I'm pretty sure there were mating holes. Because I looked up the animal life on the Gila River, and I saw that there are catfish, some form of catfish. And there was one part of the river that I wanted to get in, and I felt like there was no bottom to the side. I would try to like reach with my leg and feel, all right, where's the bottom of this sucker? And I'd feel abyss behind my leg, and I go, there's probably cat holes.
Boning.
Catfish is boning in the water.
Your buddy here, he turns everything into boning. The fishes are burning.
Yeah, they are.
It's a
boning hole. And like for fish, catfish. That's how you go noodling. That's science right there. That's not a. That's not a. I don't know what you call it.
If you were to get a catfish, would you know how to get it all right, eat it? Or?
Yep.
Sure. She says she does. I just said sure. I would figure it out, but it sounds like she knows. Tell us more, Perla.
How to gut it and clean it?
Tell us. Well, tell us about an experience where you...
A recipe?
Yeah.
A recipe? Fish? Well, when we were young, my mom would take these things called, well, I don't know the term word in English, but in Spanish it's called disco. And it's like this big old kind of like wok thing, like the one that you had, but like with a, kind of like with a bowl shape. And they would like fill up with oil. And then all the fishes, you would just clean and gut them, and then like, you know, slice it inside, put spices, and
she's doing a lot of hand gestures.
You would just throw it in the. I'm sorry,
I can't see it, but I can see it.
But you could like, they would just fry fish, and we would bring tilapias too, and we were like, just fry a bunch of fish, and we were a bunch of kids with no plates, okay, and no plates. no napkins, just
no foldable cups.
just
no,
a foil or something with like a fish and lemons and like just food all over. But like we would just eat and no one judging. But the fish was delicious. My
mouth is watering. I want some fucking fish right now.
Yeah, but the way they used to cook back then, it was just like whatever we had, that's what we had. Like I said, my grandpa would throw the hook, and whatever fish we would get, that's what we all split it. If it was 15 of us, we all got a bite from 3 fishes.
Awesome.
But great. What I wanted to say earlier was the watermelon experience.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Ben got a chance to put his first watermelon in the river, and it was icy cold.
Ice cold. I've never done that. I was asking, like, what are you talking about? You like put the watermelon in the river? Like I've put beers in a river or a lake or a pool, and was like, okay, I keep my rice in a cooler. Beers in cold water. Yes. I think I did too. No, it was just the watermelon. Because I had coolers. I had it. We had enough.
We had everything.
Anyway, the watermelon. She's like, I want a watermelon. Bring watermelon. We were thinking there'd be crawdads out there.
It was just the area.
And
but crawdads love watermelon.
Yeah. I brought the horseshoe game. I had a couple of spikes and some horseshoes. And I nailed the spikes in the river, and like I sat the watermelon on the spikes in the river.
Your son, the way he's seen you get the watermelon, and then he was all looking forward to eating it and opening it up, and
left it all night. We wrapped it in a grocery bag later because she was talking about losing them.
Losing the watermelon towards the river, yeah. They just float. Float away.
Oh, there was like a patch that the boy was playing in, and like that's part of why we picked that spot. There was like a beach of like sand, and maybe we got rid of the branches. There was branches kind of piled up a little bit, like little ones. Just a few, and I think that created like a beach. Like there was sand piled up, and the water up. Just lost Sky there. Wonder if he passed out.
No, he was there.
Anyway. I don't know what happened. Your phone died?
No, I just went out.
Well, what was I saying last year?
You were talking about the watermelon.
Oh yeah. Okay. Damn, like that was a new one on me. Like she's talking like tradition of chilling by the river, probably her river. And
my river.
I take it back. All right, I take it back because I think it's now my river because I'm going back. I'm going back.
You can go. I'll let you go to my river.
That's fun.
No, I'm actually really happy that I was able to like take you somewhere where I grew up and enjoyed as a kid. And you know what? It's a huge river, so there's many more locations that hopefully open up and we're able to visit, because then you're going to get a little bit more of what I experienced. There is some spots that were closed down for some reason or another, but I know they're going to open up. And I can't wait for you guys to go there, because there's like more nature, more trees, more stump and river. I don't know. There's a lot. Like the places where you could go and put the watermelon, the crawdads are just like flying and going on there. The rocks where you jump off.
Rocks where you jump off. How's that sound, Sky?
Sounds pretty awesome.
And water twists, I don't know what they're called. They're like twisters that will pull you down when you jump into the water. They pull you down and like push you under the river and push you up. Yeah.
Like a underwater water slide or something?
Like an underwater
funnel. Like a tornado.
A
whirlpool. They're called whirlpools.
But they pull you down and then they like push you up. That's fun.
That sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah, but as a kid, we were excited to like we were pushing each other just to go next, and
fearless.
And there's like fearless, exactly. And then there's these rocks where like half of them are like hanging into the water, and you're like right there just laying on the rock. You know, water like running through your feet. It's beautiful. It's an amazing place to go, and you know, I'm excited for you to go and take your son and see more of it.
Yeah, we will. For sure.
It's beautiful.
Sky. Does that sound like something good?
Sounds pretty awesome.
Where'd you go? Go camping on the river? It was an oasis.
I would.
I think he would love it.
I'm trying to think of like the last time I remember when we used to have those. They still have them. Probably have the cop license camp where they pick license like for like 2 days. And you're picking early in the morning, and then it's hot out, and then when it cools down, you pick some more. Well, they were doing that out in Papago Farms, and I just slept in my car. I didn't bring a tent. I just slept in the car. But I remember...
You're a camper, bro, in your car.
Yeah. But it was still fun.
It was still fun, like it.
Oh, it's still fun because it was like there's like everybody has like when you guys are talking about responsibilities. Like there's people that were like cooking all day, almost like cooking for the meal before the meal. And so, we would get up early in the morning, and I think with the kids, it was always like, who could get the most, so it was always sort of like, let's see how much you got,
like what?
Bite touch. Like, you know, it's in the bucket. Like just the saguaro fruit.
Yeah.
And you gotta knock it down with the gleek box, which is the saguaro ribs, like wired together to like poke them down and stuff.
Yeah.
When they're red. I forgot about that time, but. Even that, I mean, it was kind of blind at this camp, but like they fed us, and like I'm probably one of those guys that was just playing and didn't help. Because like it was always just like come and eat, you know, like.
You made me think of what happened. Like I told you about my dad, like cooking us a good breakfast. I fucking got up and I tried to cook some shit, and I got the like it was like a como, but it was like a bowl with legs, and I used that and I threw it on top of the fire, and it was cast iron, and it got hot as hell, and I tried to cook some bacon, and I burnt the fuck out of it. It happened so fast. I tried to like cook all good, like cook it up like I remember it.
But we learned from it.
Yeah, that first night I tore it up. I destroyed it, and I was like, we ate it, but it wasn't good, you know, like damn.
We just looked at each other and we said, next time we're just gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah, we'll wait a little while. because I made a bigger fire, and like I got it hot, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be great. And damn, I fucked it up like that.
It was good.
It was okay.
Campy good.
It was it was crunchy, campy good.
Yeah.
And I was talking about. I took this out. Here's a tradition. I talked with my mom, and like we almost always like when we're cooking food, you always like fuck up and drop a little food in the fire. And we always referred to that as feeding the camp god, the fire god. We were appeasing the fire god, like. And she asked me, she's like, "Oh, did you guys, drop any food or anything like that?" And I was just like, "No, like, we got it, we cooked it." By the time, like the next day, the next day you had a chance to try it again. I cooked a whole bunch of meat, and like I told her, I was like, "Nah, don't worry, Mom. I still fed the fire guys. I took a piece and threw it in the fire." Like, you gotta feed the fire. It's doing all this work for you. And I was like, yeah, that was a family tradition. It wasn't always on purpose. Like sometimes you fed the fire god a lot, like my bacon that next morning. Like you feed the fire god.
It was crispy.
Right. As we say at work, well done. Extra crispy bacon.
That was good. I enjoyed it.
Probably gave us all bowel problems 2 days later. Like that rocky, stony bacon finally coming back. Cold, just straight cold. Like.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm burning out, brother. We've done an hour and 45 minutes. What do you think?
Final words?
Yeah.
Final word?
Yeah, what do you think, Sky?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is it's cool to hear about your guys' trip and stuff. Sounds awesome.
Well, it was the basics. Like, I've never camped on, I don't think I've ever camped on a river. I think Patagonia is kind of a river, but it's been dammed, so it's created a lake, but it's part of a river.
Yeah.
So, like, that was a river. Like, it was flowing. It had, as best I could describe, is it had topography. It had textures and speeds and areas that I didn't want to go. Like, it was beautiful all day long, and it never stopped. It just kept flowing, and like looking at the area, I would say, dang, you wouldn't think there's this lively, beautiful, flowing water, this resource that everybody's fighting over. Everybody wants it, and here we are, we have it, and it's free. And all we had, it wasn't free, we spent some money doing this, but not as much as you would think. And we just went.
It was our first time.
Oh, yeah. No, I learned some lessons for sure. You learn every time you go. So, like Sky, when you go,
we'll be better.
We'll go again, and you go with people that know what they're doing, and then you learn from them. That's what you described, Perla. That's what you described, Sky. That's what I described. Like, where you learn from who knows what you don't. You find somebody to go camping with, and you go camping, and it's not as hard as it sounds. It can be. What are you about to say?
Overall, the camping part is one part, right? But to me, it's very important keeping safety.
Yeah.
In the water, in the river. I've had my experience with the water. I had my experience of almost dying in the water in that specific river, and I know the importance of making sure that you keep yourself and your family and your friends safe.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.
It's a big one. The speed of the water, it's a little deceiving sometimes, and the depth of the water, how high or how deep it is, it
changes.
It changes, like low tide, high tide. It literally still happens in the river. Yeah, like I told you, the water is up, it's down.
Yeah.
And
different tides. That watermelon was covered with water.
Mm-hmm.
And other times it was below it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Hi.
and my experience with like almost drowning in that river, it was just because we were not responsible, and we were just, and making plans, making plans of like
know where you're getting.
yeah, you know what you're gonna do with the plan, how you're gonna survive, because it's all survival. You're out, and by the time a cop or an ambulance show up, sometimes it could be too late. But if you're smart about it,
Dear God, bro, help me out.
just be smart about it. Take decisions. Have fun, but just respect the water, respect the area, respect Earth, and respect nature for what it is. That's the only thing I could say that I learned with my experience in the river. I've had my most amazing time there, but I also had one of my worst experiences for not being aware of, my surroundings. Or
to me,
it's important to say that because
I've swam in the ocean, and you learn real quick the respect for that big water.
For beautiful, it's beautiful.
Fucking beautiful. It's mesmerizing. The river was right there, and I heard it constantly. It was there, day and night, day in, day out, day and night.
At the same speed, or even faster.
And there was this one area that I swear there was fish there because it kept like frolicking. That's the best way I can say it. Like it would slosh. The water would slosh and like I don't know. That was bad. It sounded like fish were flipping their tails under the water over there, and I think all it was like a pile of rocks in that one space. But I heard the river all day long, and there was something like...
Does not stop?
It was calming. When I was standing, I went in there on purpose in the middle of the morning. Like, I'd go there first. It would be ice cold. Like, my feet would be tingling. I'd get in there. But it was like, the river. When will I ever be able to have this experience again? So I go out there and feel it and like let it take me, kind of like, I don't know, my attention. You
forgot about this life, work, everything, and you just enjoyed the moment, and it was nice to see.
Yeah, the desert, the water in the desert. If you can imagine that, damn, beautiful. Very beautiful.
Even if you go somewhere with no water, nature itself is beautiful.
Well, we brought water. We brought water with us, and you could do that too. Anybody who's listening is like, I think preparation is just as good as doing the real thing, camping, getting ready. I brought a bunch of shit, like, for so many scenarios that played out of my head in this unknown environment. I was ready.
I appreciated everything you brought.
I've gone camping before, and I was ready. I was like, I'm going armed to the teeth, and I'm getting prepared. I'm bringing tools.
You've seen what I brought? Nothing. Just my clothes, sunscreen.
You brought that giant blanket, that life-saving blanket. Crazy. Yeah, it was. I knew that was going to get cold. I know it gets cold. All right, people, let's not lie. It gets cold camping sometimes. Depending on when you do it.
But in the daytime is hell.
Yeah, it got hot. I had to say this on the air just before we get off here, is that, like we described, following the shade. And like there was a moment between where it was cold in the morning and then the sun was just out and in your face and hot, and we were like cooking on earth. And it was like we were like, part of it was like, the river's right there, but it was still cold. It was still cold from the morning. So like you get in there, but you don't get in there, so you're not cooling off, and it's just hot. But I swear, like, just chasing a little shade and being cool and calm, hanging out with the boy, and then there was this point in the evening, like 3 to 5, 2 to 5.
Perfect time.
And it was beautiful. The sun kind of went behind these trees that we had farther apart from us, and the breeze was blowing, and it was quiet, and there was the river, and it was green, and it was cool, and I was just like, I turned to Perla, and I was like, this is why you came. I'm so glad I came. No matter whatever frustration caused me from like getting out of my routine, like it got me. I realized it that first night. Like I was frazzled, trying to get comfortable in this strange environment.
I kept on telling you, we need wood. We need wood.
Yeah,
we need wood.
And I was like, where's the fucking tea? Like we need tea because I got boiled water, but where's the tea? And there was lights and like no lights, and it was like animals, you could hear them, and I was like, oh, like once you get past that, like man,
we should do Skyway camping part 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we could record there. Like, I got enough here. We could record there.
Well, I was gonna say, like, usually I also think of like camping as telling scary stories.
Yeah.
Like by the fire.
Well, Ami was pretty small, so I wasn't trying to freak him out like that. He's young. Yeah, he's young. There will be time for that.
We did have good conversation, though. Yeah, it was good. It was a nice one. He had his little conversation with us. You asked him what was his favorite part. He said, building.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He said. And he stayed that second day. He stayed in that river. He turned into a little ice cube. And I kept telling him, get out of the river now, stay there. And at some point, I didn't want to get him out, but at the same time, I was like, all right, all right, this is it. I had to drag him out of there and make him get warm and stop him from playing because he just wanted to be there. Like, it blew my mind. It was beautiful to see it. I was just like,
I loved it when he told me, take a picture of me. Take a picture of me. And he wanted proof of like his memory of being there. He went and got in front of the camp house. And he was like, take a picture of me.
Anyway, Sky and anybody out there listening, you can do it. I don't think we even have to leave town or the res or anything to find something beautiful close by. Sit your own porch, your yard, sit outside, find a season you like, your temperature, and I think fire, if we ever really get down to it, I think fire makes all the difference. No matter what temperature it is, having fire is like this reliable, primal feeling. And have a good time. I think going with good people is a big part of it. And by that I mean like it was chill. It was good vibes.
Oh, trust me, I've gone with drama. Yeah. Not my drama, but like cousins would get like too happy, too, drunk, just. One thing, they broke their arm because they tried to jump the rock, and little things like that happen. But you're just having a good time, and you take it for what it is. Yeah.
Nice. I mean,
Right.
you plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather.
Yeah, brother.
Oh, you need that cold beer, though. You do.
Yeah. You chop up some wood. Sit by a fire. You know I brought beer. I brought beer and meat and good company, and it was cool.
I wanted watermelon. I made sure that water.
That was good. That was good too.
Man.
Sky, you're coming next, man. We'll go. All right.
The sound of the crickets.
Yeah.
You hear that? Perfect timing.
Yeah, Sky's been sitting out on his porch this entire time. You can hear him. It's perfect.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can hear him on you. All right, well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. This was the Natives in America podcast. And you're tuning into the Reservation Radio Network. Thanks for showing up. Thank you, Perla.
Thank you for inviting me.
Nice meeting you, Perla.
Nice meeting you, Sky.
Cool.
Thank you for letting me share.
Cool. Good night, everyone.
Peace.
Good night.